let's flip a coin. Head Carolina, tails California, somewhere greener, somewhere warmer.
Okay, it's Andy Graham of hoboontheroad.com. I'm in Kiev, Ukraine, and I got some statue. I have no idea what it is behind me. I'm in a square, but I'm about as far from paradise as I've ever been in the last 16 years. And Kiev even has girls, so that's a pretty bad indictment of Europe in a way. Okay, I wanted to talk about paradise because a lot of you guys are going to try to follow my path or be perpetual travelers, or go live abroad and try to find some place. And in a way, where you live already is probably the best paradise for you, as long as you're content, happy, and you're busy. But what you find is when somebody gets to paradise, they chose to be there. And there are places that are just paradise on the planet. I'm first going to start out here with telling you what paradise is, and I'll tell you what paradise isn't. I'll try to show you some background here and keep the sun on my eyes. Okay, what happens when you find a paradise is a place where people get stuck. That's number one. They get stuck there. They come there for 2 days and end up spending 2 months. Paradise usually has cheap medicine, cheap doctors, cheap everything. You just go to the pharmacy and you buy medicine right across the counter. And so the worries about medicine are not a worry. Paradise is a place where everybody's free, has a lot of time, and they have a lot of conversations. That's number 3. Number 4, I'll put it in one thing. It's no AC and no furnaces. Now, when I say no air conditioning or no furnaces, I first mean no furnaces. Furnaces, like I'm in Kiev, Ukraine, and these guys are going to hunker down and hide in their apartment now for the next 3 months. It's November. But, there's places, even on the beach, where you don't have furnaces, right? And sometimes you can be on a tropical beach and the winds are blowing off the coast, and it's always cool. And if you get the right room with concrete, you're not a tin roof or something like that, it can be paradise and you don't need air conditioning. But obviously I'm always trying to promote this idea of like 1,000 to 1,500 meters above sea level, about 500 feet above sea level elevation. And in the tropics, 23.5 degrees below the equator, 23.5 degrees above the equator. And these are paradise locations climate-wise. And some of you need that because you can't really handle anything. Okay, in paradise, people seldom work. They talk about work and they all tell you they're working all the time, but you're really looking at them and they're all sitting around talking to their friends. Okay. Normally, okay, that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Transportation steep. Taxis are going to cost you about $1. You never really are forced to walk, although it is normally a walking culture. Most paradise places people walk a lot just because it's a nice day out, right? Okay. I'm going to get these all out of order. Paradise, usually the locals are friendly. That means that if you say hi to the friendlies, you got about a 90% chance they're going to reply back. And this is a very uncommon thing for a lot of people, and they don't know what to do when people say hi to them. But after a while, they do get accustomed to it, and they actually slow their lives down and learn to be a hospitable person. Normally, paradise is a long ways from an airport. Anything that's too close to the airport and everybody's crowding in there and you got tourists. That's because tourism is not airport. I want to show you this statue. This is a real beautiful statue behind me. There's a real beautiful building over here. And that's good for about 1 day or 15 minutes. And then, and if you think that you're going to go live in one of these beautiful places and just that is going to keep you here, it's not. It's about the people that you meet there, not the buildings that you think. Everybody thinks they're going to go retire in some kind of big lovely city with a bunch of high monuments and stuff and be a number on the wall. That's not it. Okay, so normally paradise is a long ways from an airport. No money, it's cheap. normally paradise is a place where it's just so darn cheap that you really can never complain about the cost of things. Sometimes they'll have a coffee that costs way too much, but generally overall it's just not one of your big budget concerns. Almost anywhere you go in paradise, it's a $300 a month room. Now, strange as you think, I'm in here in Kiev, and I could find a room here for probably about $300 a month. In all of Europe, I can find a $300 a month place. I lived in Ghent, $300 a month. I lived in Belgium. I lived in Switzerland for $300 a month. I lived in Germany for $300 a month. I lived in Barcelona, Spain for $300 a month. I know Europe. It's always possible to find a $300 a month room. It's not going to be just like your home thing. Okay, and then paradise is probably where you're going to find the love of your life. That's back to where we started from, that you may already be in paradise already if you found the love of your life. But if you haven't found it, a lot of times the reason why people go searching for paradise is to find their love of their life. Okay, now I'm going to tell you what it isn't paradise, okay? So that's the positive. The negative, or the reason why it's not paradise, is I got a jacket on. You're going to have to hide from the elements, and you're going to freeze to death, and people are going to go into their thing, and there's not going to be people on the streets because they're going to be hiding from snow. They stay inside. I just was talking to a friend of mine, and he was telling me that if I found a certain place in Moldova, in Kisnia, I would have found paradise. And I said, come on, guy. Paradise is not a place I have to go search the whole city to find something fun to do. But some people find that, and he also wanted me to blow money to have friends, fun, and that's a negative place. Any place where, like Las Vegas, where you have to plow money into things to have fun, and it's not just organic type fun, normal type fun, natural type fun, it's not paradise. Generally, in places that are not paradise, drinking is the #1 pastime. And trust me, Europe, that is Europe. Okay, it costs money to stay warm in these places. Okay, in paradise, places that are not paradise, everybody's working. They're busy. They're going to tell you things. You're going to hear the things like, call me back later, I'm kind of busy now. I'm too busy to come for a cup of coffee. I'm too busy for this. It's just a never-ending mantra of saying, I'm too busy. Okay, normally, and a lot of you guys are going to get really confused on this, tourists are always going to beautiful places. But any place where the tourists are outnumbering the locals to about 9 to 1 is never going to be paradise, because you're just going to get lost in the mix of one-night stand friends, one-day renewable friendships. Tourist traps, tourist places where you have big, beautiful buildings don't keep people happy. That's never the reason why they just stay there and whatever. It's about people. Okay, but the worst thing probably about places that are not paradise is the constant competition for money. They're going to have the big Hummer, they're going to have the Corvette, they're going to have the biggest iPad, they're going to have the biggest computer. They're always going to be showing you the most fashionable clothing, and that means it's a very, very competitive place, guys. If you have to wear special clothes to meet your girlfriend, it's a competitive place. If you have to wear special clothes to meet your boyfriend, it's a competitive place. There are places where people just talk to each other and get to know each other and like each other. Here's one of my best. When I was in a bar here the other night, and this British wanker was sitting there talking about the wine, and the girl was saying it was from Argentina, and he was sniffing it and saying it was such a great rose and stuff like that. In paradise, you're going to have people that are going to say, well, you know, when I was to Argentina, okay, they don't talk about Argentina wines, they talk about Argentina, okay. That's about it, but you're going to see that there's a lot of one-upsmanship in places that are not paradise. Your friends are always you're going to say one thing, and he's going to say he's got a bigger one. He's penis envy on steroids in these places. It's all about the status, and what is everybody searching for? They're searching for intimacy and the love of their life. And sometimes the reason why they don't find it at the end of the day is because they're way too busy to even give time to talk to somebody. So, Andy Graham in Kiev, Europe. I have never found paradise in any European place, but I haven't found my love of my life here, right? But paradise is different for everybody, and one person's paradise is another person's hell. Andy Graham, 16 plus years of non-stop traveling in 105 countries. I'm in Kiev, Ukraine. Get on hobotraveler.com, subscribe by your email, and you can get kind of updates every day in your mailbox. I'm going to leave Europe. I had to come back to, some ways what makes you appreciate paradise is when you go to hell. And I'm in hell right now in Europe. But I'm busy, I'm happy, I'm always going to be happy because I never can get in a hurry. I don't allow anybody around me to tell me I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. Because the people, when they say you got to do that, it's like, hey, that's the problem in life.